What's up guys, Philip here, and I am back in the garage. I actually went to the commercial gym today for my squat days. I've been doing that pretty much every single weekend. Squats feel more comfortable there, and hit a top single with 515 pounds and was very happy with that. But have hit some bigger weights on some other lifts in the garage lately, and I got a great question from one of my buddies, Barbells, Dumbbells, That's It, on one of my videos, my 370 for 2 bench press. Now I've done that recently at 390 for 1, and thankfully those sessions have been going really well. I have stacked wins and made progress, but there have been times in the past where, I do not exactly gauge it correctly, and I have multiple bad workouts in a row. So I felt like his question was very pertinent. He basically asked, how do you get over having a bad session or a combination of bad sessions mentally? How do you deal with that? And my answer to that is you stack experience on top of experience. You do many sessions, and I know my guy has done many sessions over the time of his lifting career. So have I, and in my experience, you learn about your body, you stack sessions on top of each other, and you learn about the principles of training from your own experience and from others. Basically, that is a fancy way of saying you gain experience, and with that experience, it helps you with your overall perspective. So let's say you are in the gym, you have a bad session, you usually bench press 315 for 5, you come in and you do 315 for 3.5. Now that's very frustrating, and that kind of scenario has hit me many times. And what do I do when something like that happens? Well, one of my most common strategies is either do a different rep scheme for the day or do a different exercise entirely, preferably one that you do not kind of have a precedent for. So if I'm struggling with a barbell bench press and I haven't done a dumbbell bench press for a while, then I will go ahead, I'll do dumbbell bench press just to kind of get the work in, but not have that, that expectation that I'm supposed to hit a set number of reps with a set number of weight, or it is a failure. So that is my main strategy. My second strategy, sometimes I'm just bullheaded and I finish the workout up, guys. Sometimes you miscalculate, sometimes just based on a number of factors, you're just not gonna have a good day. Those happen, bad days happen in the gym. They mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. They are just an extra an extra point of data that you build onto kind of a stockpiling list of data points to track progress. So sometimes you just have to do what you can. You have to lower the expectations and go back to the drawing board, try to figure out what went wrong in that session. Now, one bad session, not really that big of a deal. That can be a number of things. Maybe you aren't as hydrated as you usually are. Maybe you don't track your food and you unknowingly eat less calories, less grams of carbs before the workout, so you don't have as much energy. Maybe you have systemic fatigue built up if you're like me and you refuse to take a deload and your body is just tired. Your body is telling you, hey, I am not functioning optimally because you are not giving me the rest that I need. It can happen that way. You can also have CNS fatigue, and that is something very real. My guys who watch this, my buddies who lift pretty serious weights, I'm sure you can attest to that. If you lift very heavy weights and you don't give yourself a break, you don't manage that fatigue in the CNS realm, then you can have a very bad session. I'll give you an example. Sometimes, just because I'm stubborn, because I'm young and I can get away with it, I will do a very heavy deadlift session, and then the next day I will try to do a very heavy bench press session. Now, if you're not so experienced in training, you're going to say, oh, that's not that big of a deal. If you have done this enough, alarm bells are probably going off in your head and you're probably saying, hey, deadlifts, if you're not managing the volume that you're doing with the intensity, then you're going to generate a ton of systematic fatigue, and your nervous system is not going to be primed for the next session. So it's not just your muscles, it's not just your hydration, it's not just your nutrition, it is also your CNS and whether it is feeling okay. I watched a video here recently from Dr. Mike Israetel where he was talking about systematic fatigue, and one of the main, or not one of the symptoms for systematic fatigue is a general lack of desire to train. So if you're feeling like, I can take this session or leave it, probably not the best idea to max out on that day, because that could indicate that you have built up quite a bit of fatigue and your body's not really in a position to really challenge itself with a very high intensity set. So with all of that being said, those all can affect a workout. Single workout, not that big of a deal. But if you start stringing together multiple bad workouts, multiple workouts where you are not hitting your expectations, you need to do really one of two things. You need to either obviously back off, maybe readjust your expectations. You might be a hard charger like me and you might try to put 10 pounds on your squat every single time you do it again, and you might just be running yourself into a wall. Once you hit that point, like Alexander Bromley in his new Fire Your Coach series talked about, fantastic series, guys. If you haven't watched Alexander Bromley's new series, Fire Your Coach, he talks about all of that stuff. He talks about fatigue management, your intensity versus your volume, how that kind of factors in day to day, week to week, and kind of mesocycle to mesocycle, and how you can kind of work with that fatigue. There are things to think about when you are considering that general fatigue. As far as heavier weights, those are going to be tougher on your CNS. So you're going to have to give your body a little bit more of a break. You're going to have to not beat yourself into the ground quite as much. And I speak with that pretty definitively because I've experienced it myself many, many times. That's why they make powerlifting programs if you're a powerlifter. That's why they have Evolve AI, Juggernaut AI, things to help people with that, the fatigue management, volume versus intensity, and kind of how you fluctuate that in different ways via programs and cycles. Again, if you don't want to follow a preset program, and you train intuitively, sometimes you are going to run into the issues that I've talked about more times than someone running a dedicated program. If you are training intuitively, you either need to have a very high training IQ, or just be ready to make mistakes, have pitfalls, push a little hard sometimes, and kind of spin your wheels in the dirt. But when that happens, go back to the drawing board. Do not take a combination of workouts as a death sentence. Don't think you just got weaker out of nowhere. Think of your body as an engine, and think about it needing gas and nutrition, rest, recovery, calorie surplus, hydration, all of that stuff. That is the gas that powers that engine. So you might have the same engine in you, you might just not have as much gas on that day or those collections of days. That's something that only comes with learning and experience and going through it and kind of figuring that out. But I wanted to make this video quickly because I got that question. It's a great question, and I'm sure many people have wondered that. So just to recap, when you have a bad session, it can be a number of different factors: technique, CNS, hydration, nutrition, sleep, stress. Can be any one or combination of a number of things. And it really doesn't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, but when you start stacking bad session on bad session, something is wrong in your programming, in your training, and you need to reevaluate to try to tweak and get back on course to keep on moving forward. Okay, so I hope this video helped. I know it's pretty rudimentary info and it's not really super specific, but that is just kind of a general thought process in my head that has helped me get through having some bad sessions and continue on increasing my weights over the long run. So hope this was helpful. Hope y'all appreciate this one and it helps things put things in perspective for you. I appreciate you guys. As always, if you have any other questions on what I talked about, drop them down in the comment section below. I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. I appreciate all of y'all, and I'll catch you on the next one.